President Trump says you can't go wrong with his final 4 Supreme Court candidates. The president will announce his nominee tonight. Sources tell CBS News the contenders are appeals court judges Amy Coney Barrett, Thomas Hardiman, Brett Kavanaugh, and Raymond Kethledge. Mr. Trump is focusing most closely on Kavanaugh and Hardiman, according to Jan Crawford. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told the president that Hardiman and Kethledge may be easier to confirm.
Leonard Leo is executive vice president of the Federalist Society, a conservative lawyers group. He's currently on leave. Leo advises President Trump on judicial nominations and helped create the list of candidates for the president. He joins us from Washington. Good morning.
Good morning.
When was the last time you talked to the president, and has he made a decision?
Spoke to him yesterday. He had not yet made a decision. Indicated that he wanted to make a decision tonight, or last night, or this morning. So that's what we're waiting for, and I'm sure he'll announce this evening, of course, and maybe there'll be a bit of a heads up. He's
had these names for a while. You helped him craft them. He's known about this issue. He talked about it during the campaign. What's he weighing now, and why is anything still up in the air?
Well, he spent a pretty significant amount of time over the weekend asking questions, talking to people, thinking about this further. This is a really big decision for him. As you may remember, he spent a good part of his campaign talking about this issue. This was a big reason why people voted for him. So he wants to get it right, like Neil Gorsuch.
What does getting it right mean? What kinds of questions are on his mind? Again, this has been on his mind for a while. So what's still puzzling him?
Well, there are 3 things that he looks at. One is being extraordinarily well qualified, and that's, looking at the record. But also, he wants someone who's going to be courageous, independent, and fair. And a lot of that has to do with, talking to people who know these nominees, talking to people who've known them for years, getting a sense of how they've dealt with difficult issues in their career. You really have to get to know somebody, and that requires not only an interview, but thinking about what happened in that interview, and obviously talking to lots of people in the legal profession and elsewhere.
Let's go through some of the names. First, Thomas Hardiman. Sources say the president is somewhat enamored with his biography as someone who is not from one of the Ivy Leagues, who paid for college by being a taxi driver. He was one of the runners-up with the Neil Gorsuch in the past. What are some of his strengths?
Well, first of all, he's been both an appeals judge and a trial judge for a number of years, has many judicial opinions. He's demonstrated a commitment to interpreting laws according to their text and their original meaning. He has a very compelling narrative, as you mentioned, having come from a pretty modest a modest background and having worked his way through college. So I think he's someone who would appeal to many people in our country.
And Brett Kavanaugh, also a judge, worked for George W. Bush. Some have suggested that he has too long of a paper trail to be confirmed. Your take on that?
Well, look, Judge Kavanaugh is really one of the most distinguished jurists in the country. He's written over 300 opinions. He looks a lot like Neil Gorsuch in the sense that he cares very deeply about respecting and enforcing limits on government power. I think he's someone who, again, is very much like the Gorsuch model, which the president's been focusing on.
Leonard Leo, you helped him put the list together. Who's your favorite?
Oh, all the people the president looking at are great.
Okay.
It's very exciting.
All right, thank you.
All right, Leonard Leo, thanks so much. CBS News will bring you a special report when President Trump announces his nominee for the Supreme Court tonight. Jeff Glor will anchor from Washington. You can see it at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, right here on CBS.